In this episode of MD Fish Tanks, guys, we're going to be fully planting the angelfish jungle aquarium you can see behind me and completely finishing the build. So if you remember in the last episode, guys, I had to go to bed and that's why we stopped the video, but now I'm awake. Everything's still moist, as you can see from the paper towels behind me. So let's just get that off and we can start planting straight away. We've got so much to do, let's just crack on. Right, we're all ready, plants are moist, they'll be okay for a good while, but now we need to select our plants, and where am I going to get them from? Oh, I'm going to get them from there. Perfect. So I'm going to be placing the Java Fern and the Bulbitis in and amongst all the wood you can see here. That will then leave us the space behind it for all the planted plants that need to go in. And then I'm going to stick a load of crypts in amongst it all as well, in the shaded areas. Some of the crypts can actually not be planted. I've found that some of the best growth I've had with some of my crypts has been just random in between gaps in the rock. Like, who would have thought that would be a thing? But I done it before because I didn't have any room to plant, and it grew so well. And ever since, I've done it in a few other places and it looks really good. I'll show you an example later in my discus aquarium, but for now we need to just concentrate on this one. In which case, why am I still talking? Let's go! So being that I'm a content creator, Tropico provided me with a boatload of plants to be able to create awesome videos for you guys. But if you're looking at this amount of plants thinking I can't afford to buy that many, don't worry, you don't need this many. You can create exactly what I'm creating here with a third of the amount of plants, probably even less. The only difference is that your setup will probably take about 3 months before it's fully filled in, whereas I have the benefit of being able to make it look full right from the start, which really suits me because I'm so darn impatient anyway. Darn, that's not a word I use very often. But what I will say, guys, is that you should always buy as many plants as you can afford. You know, obviously my plants are supplied now, but before they were, I still spent a lot of money on plants because it's so important. To give yourself the best chance of success, you want to buy a lot of plants from the start. I recommend putting back a good third of your budget just for plants alone. I know that can sound like a lot, but with a lot of plants in the tank from the word go, you massively reduce your chance of algae and any other headaches. Water quality is top notch from the word go. Plants are just amazing. They're just amazing. Just get as many as you can, put them all in. So here I am prepping plants again. Wow, I've prepped a lot of plants in the last few days, but you know, what an awesome problem to have. Take off the rock wall, scrape off the rest with some tweezers. Job done. So the stage is set. Now I'm going to just start placing some stuff in. I'm going to work on the biggest boom area first. This one over on the far left. I'm just going to start placing stuff in. I'm going to build forwards to the back so that then they're not blocking anything. Smallest at the front, tallest at the back. Same way with stem plants, but just with Java Ferns. Because obviously we've got 3 types of Java Ferns. We've got like the normal one, which is big. Then we've got narrow leaf. Then we've got trident, so it gets smaller as you go. Anyway, I'm just going to get them in. And then I'm going to talk about what I've done afterwards so you guys can understand. Right, that's looking fantastic so far, but it's still not quite boom enough for me. Like, I want it really big. So I've just found another couple of pots of the, well, I'd say I've just found, they're not exactly hidden, but another couple of the biggest form of the Microchorum pteris, the Java Fern. Yes, it's the biggest type. So I'm going to put that right in this section here. I want this section filled out even more, you see, and then it will come into sort of a negative area of stuff or stems at the back or whatever, and then the smallest Java Ferns will be in this sort of gap here, trailing on, leading your eye onto the smaller boom section. But anyway, let's get that big section of Java Fern in there. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Now it's boom. Loving that. That's brilliant. Next job is to get that... Ow, that really hurt. So the next job is to get the smallest version of the Java Ferns in, which is this really narrow leaf stuff. It's called trident because it sort of comes apart in threes. But this will be good details to put around the rocks, you see. So like that gap in the middle there would look really good. You don't want to overdo it. I still want other plants in there as well, but That's why I didn't get too much of this stuff, because it's just good for little details. So let's get that in as well. Right, that's boom done. Now we need to work on boom. I ran out of plants. Well, I've run out of prepared plants. I need to prepare more. Go. Right, so plants done. Oh, I've turned the lights off just whilst I was prepping those plants to stop them drying out for longer. To stop them drying out quicker is what I meant to say there. There we go. Oh, it's so good. Right, prep plants all for this side. But like I said, I want to keep that sort of negative space in the middle, because that creates a really good look. The narrow leaf going through the middle, and then the tall stuff at the back. So I don't follow many conventional aquascaping rules, guys. I just sort of put stuff in and go by what I think looks good. But one tip I did get from Josh Sim on the Green Aqua channel was that if you use one plant on one side, you tend to want to use it on the other side as well, and it just creates a really nice natural balance. So I try to stick to that where possible. Which means that, as you can see, we've got Bobitus on this side and we've got Bobitus on this side. Bobitus is a really nice word to say. So we want to have it on this side as well. I'm thinking in this corner and on this corner here. But the problem is, if you've got somewhere behind that hasn't got anywhere to sort of lodge in anything, I could put it underneath here, see, but that wouldn't look good just in that little area. I want it here, and if I lay it down there, it's not going to stay. So a good tip, get the Bobitus in, and then you can just lay a stone on top of it, and that will pin it against the wood, and then we're all good to go. Right, let me just take you in. Oh, this is difficult. Took you in. Right, can you see there? Look, there's the stone that's just leaning against this. Whoa, that's awkward. But yeah, you get the idea. So now that'll stay there without having to glue it, pin it, doing anything with like string. It's just there, and you can't see the rock, and the rock's taking up barely any space as well. So perfect. Carry on. Right, so that's all the epiphyte plants in. So when I say epiphyte, I mean stuff that doesn't need to be planted into soil. And you could, to be honest, just stop there, couldn't you? And that'll be it. But we're creating a jungle. So if you look at the back here, we've still got tons of room behind for loads of planting. And that's the beauty of this tank. So I think I've already mentioned 120 centimeters across, 60 centimeters back, and 60 centimeters down. It's from Aquariums for Life, guys. Go to their website. It's in the description. Have a look. Really good price. Amazing, amazing tank. 12mm opti-white glass and an oak stand. I mean, you can't get better than that. But it's the depth that is really, really doing it for me, because look at the amount of foreground space we've got. Tons of rocks, tons of plants in already, and there's still so much room at the back for planting. Basically, I want to keep the planting short in the middle, so like low stuff like crypts that don't grow crazy fast, and then we can go for stems and val at the side. I've got that Vallisneria nana, which is like the thin stuff, so I think they just look so much nicer when you've got big tapes of normal jungle val going over the top. I think that spoils the scale a bit. This stuff should look fantastic though. Also got the Hydrocotyle Japan, but I'm going to be adding that in at the end in a few key areas, because that stuff grows crazy and will overtake everything. So yeah, let's get some stems and val in. So apologies for the complete lack of being able to see what the hell I'm doing here, but it's a really, really funny angle to try and get filming in, but you get the idea. Stem plants come right behind the Java fern. They're going to grow taller than that and look really cool, and they can be trimmed in a way that banks them backwards. And then the Vallisneria nana behind that as well. So that'll grow even taller. It will reach the surface, and then it will sweep all the way along the back, just like in my discus tank. Eventually that will reduce the lighting overall, but it will give a really cool greeny, naturey effect. Kind of like a jungle. So now it's time to prepare our crypts that will be going in the middle section. We've got Cryptocoryne, Wenti, Petchi, and Tropica varieties. As you can see, some of the leaves have melted a little bit. Just peel them off, they're fine, they're old. All the new growth's coming through anyway, so that'll be perfect. Now in this immersed sort of state, as they're growing out of water, they're quite green, but once we put them into the water and they've been growing a while, all the new leaves coming through will give us a really good variation of colour in the middle section. We'll get like reddy brown tints, you know, just a bit more variety to the already green sections that we've got. Now these are all classed as mid-ground plants. They grow similar sort of height. I'm not planting them with any sort of structure. I'm just kind of going for a random look. I think that looks really good with crypts and should give us a really cool focal point in the middle of the tank. We then need to fill out the left side of the tank in the same way that we filled out the right. Rotala rotundifolia just behind the Java fern, and then the Vallisneria nana all the way across the back. So I just remembered, guys, I've got some of these like nutrition capsules from Tropica. I'm going to stick those in the soil as well because why not? I've got them here. They'll go at the back. I'll just take the tweezers, take one, put it into the soil where all the roots are, the plants at the back. Right guys, well I think we're there. Last thing we need to do is just give it a massive spray down, and then that'll stop any crud just floating up into the water when we fill it up. I mean, it doesn't matter because it'll all get filtered, but you know, let's just spray it anyway. Okay, we've got all of that looking great. Everything's where I want it to be. I'm loving it, but we now need the filtration. The filtration. What's the filtration? It's in here. We got one 𝐃𝐎𝐍'𝐓, two 𝐃𝐎𝐍'𝐓s. Why the hell am I singing? Yeah, so we got two 𝐃𝐎𝐍'𝐓 filters, guys. We got the Thermo 600 and a Thermo 250. Why the hell do you need two filters? So the Thermo 600 is going to be doing the brunt of the filtration, obviously. It's going to have the most media in it and everything like that. Obviously combined with all of the volcano mineral that we've got beneath all this scape as well. But the 250 is going to be sort of like a support one just for extra flow. So I'm going to connect the outlet and the inlet, of course, to this side at the back. So it will just create a gentle flow over the background plants because stems, they don't really like high flow. Plus, the valve is going to look much nicer, just gently, like, you know, sweeping across in the gentle flow. And then you'll come to the front side, and I've got some nice glass lily pipes as well. I don't know why I'm looking down there. They're not down there. I've got some nice glass lily pipes I need to clean up because I've had them out of a tank for ages and they look horrendous. And here they are waiting to be cleaned. We've got rust, we've got grime. Ugh. So these 𝐃𝐎𝐍'𝐓 filters are the best I've ever used. The plastic quality is really high grade and there's no chance of anything snapping off here. Now why are they so good? Well, first of all, they've got this extra little compartment here. It's called a pre-filter. Basically, this takes all of the grime out of the water before it goes through the main section. And the best thing about it is that you can just remove it at any point, clean out the sponges, put it back in, and you're good to go again. Now the second thing I really like about it is that it's got a built-in heater. Obviously that's not essential, but it looks so much better not having heaters in your tank. I can just about cope with inlet and outlets for filters, but if we could take the heater out of the equation, that's brilliant. Heater is also removable, as you can see, in case it needed replacing or anything like that. So this particular model comes with 4 baskets of sponges and then 2 baskets of the media. This is way too much to carry all at one time. It also comes with all the pipe work, clips and suction-y things and all that other boring stuff that I don't need to go into details on. You've all seen all that before. Pretty standard stuff on most filters. So we just need to cut the pipe in half. We can feed it through the opening in the side of our aquarium, plug it into the inlet and outlet taps, and then all we've got to do is attach our inlet and outlet. And as I said, for this one I'm using the glass lily pipes. Not provided with the kit, they're bought separately, but they weren't expensive. They're just a cheap version that took 4 months to arrive from China. A while ago, I might add. Ooh, okay, thank God that's over with. We got all the pipe work clean eventually. You might have been wondering or looking what the hell I was doing with this thing. I didn't have any pipe cleaners and this is way too big and rigid to go through it all. So I just found a load of these things in my kids' craft area. Just fashioned this really long piece of it all rolled up. Oh, it got the job done though, see? Make do with the stuff you've got and get the job done. Well, that, guys, is everything set. We've got the glassware over there. If anyone's wondering, I'll put a link in the description, hopefully, if I can still find it. But this is just a cheap eBay set, like. And then, obviously, this side, we've got the standard 𝐃𝐎𝐍'𝐓 fittings. That's fine. You won't really see that. There's going to be loads of stuff growing up in that area anyway at some point. Well, a later date. Okay, so the moment's finally here. Let's get some water in it. Boom. Yeah! Okay, so that's the beauty fill up with water. Let's get those filters primed and running. We should get a nice shimmer effect on the surface once we get that water bubbling away. Well guys, the tank's now been set up for about 3 days. I actually delayed releasing some of the videos for you because it was going through that horrible misty phase that all new tanks go through. Anyway, that's cleared now. Oh, by the way, you might notice that I'm sat in my new nano tank surround for my desk. I told you in another video I was going to do this, and guess what? I just did it. Took a day, well worth the effort. I'll tell you how I built all of this in the next video, guys. But back over to the ANGELFISH aquarium. And here it is. Look at that. I think it's looking awesome. It's completely clear. Actually, it'd have if I turn off all the other lights, wouldn't it? Right, there we go. All the other lights are off, but look at that. Look at that density. We've got exactly what I was looking for. I'm glad I waited a few days to show you guys this because all the plants have gone sort of up towards the light as they should do. Lights being these awesome little LED floodlights that you can buy. Just link in description, guys. Really cheap from Amazon. Brilliant little things. Look at the light we're getting off of just two 20-watt LEDs. I think they're like £20 or $25, something like that. Look, really cheap. Good colour inlet as well. So what we've got here, we've got all of our Java Fern all the way we wanted it in boom, and then we've got less in boom, and then we've got our crypts at the back hiding in. We've got the val over there. Look, that's eventually it's gonna swoop over like an arch all the way across that middle section, and it'll make sort of like a tunnel as well, which will look really good. But I'm really happy with how it's turned out. And also, I love the shimmer effect, look, that we're getting in the studio now. Like, if I come back here, you see, you don't really get it with a strip light. There is a little bit of shimmering, look, you can see on the top. But that's what you get of a spotlight and some decent surface movement. That's also why I've lifted up the outlet there so that it can create that sort of rippling effect all the way along the surface. I've also done it a bit over here with the lily pipe as well. But the lily pipe does it automatically. You don't actually have to lift it out, but... So yeah, you get that really nice shimmering, and this now is an awesome place just to sit and work. I've turned the lights off, but oh, it's so nice. So yeah, I think one thing that I would like to add is maybe some accents of red somewhere. I mean, I know the crypts at the back will sort of grow in to be not so vividly green, but more sort of different shades of browns and hints of red and that, but maybe I'll take some Rotala 𝐻𝐻 from one of my other tanks and plant that in at a later date. It's not something we need to rush right at the minute. I mean, we're obviously going to be doing more to this tank. At the moment, I can't go out and get fish, but when I can, we'll be adding the angelfish as well. And maybe we can add some more plants in at that time. What other plants would you like to see in this tank? Let me know in the comments.